organic, unpredictable, unknown, lovely, beautiful, a sense of fulfillment. This is part of the pleasures of life and not the chores of life.
Coming up on Daily Iowan TV, the UI said goodbye to an old technology. What it means for the faculty and staff is up next.
The Artsy Mansion. How is art helping women's health? We have the answer very soon.
And in sports, pregame and wrestling media day. We're all set to go.
We have all that at the top of the hour. Daily Iowan TV starts right now.
I'm Tom Brokaw. For more than 100 years now, the University of Iowa community has been waking up to the Daily Iowan. Today, it's the largest newsroom in eastern Iowa. And now you can see the news every night on Daily Iowan TV and get it anytime worldwide at dailyiowan.com.
Thanks for tuning in this evening. I'm Marissa Mahalik.
And I'm Muriel Kone. The University of Iowa is finally hitting the eject button on the VHS tape. The university recently declared there will be no more VCRs in the classroom. And after 30 decades of this video supplier, the university finally says goodbye to a piece of the art. Our own Chelsea Brown has the story.
From the 1980s through the 90s, the video home system dominated the theater of video watching. The introduction of the VHS was the start of a new era where people now had the ability to plug in any film they wanted to watch into their television. But currently in 2013, the term VHS seems almost ancient to most students, dating back to their childhood.
The Little Mermaid was always a favorite. My brother would always watch Dumbo, so that's always like a favorite too.
But trying to figure out the last time they watched a VHS was even harder for students.
I don't know. I would say probably when I was 10.
As a 90s kid, I remember growing up watching VHSs myself, being hooked on the classics of Disney to everything Mary-Kate and Ashley. Even though the VCR is only 38 years old, students today would never be caught using this device, and since the invention of flat screens, use a TV similar to this one. During its time period, the VCR sold over 900 million copies, but the last occurrence of selling this device dates back to 2008. This may not seem like an issue to many students now hooked on DVDs and systems beyond that, but many teachers and faculty are being affected by this. Communications professor Tim Havens explained that teachers who want footage of videotapes to DVDs have to transfer it over, which is an extensive process. Havens believes some of his use for class footage may start to come out of his own pocket. But ready or not, the university plans to have all VCRs removed by spring of 2014, leaving the VHS in the past. This is Chelsea Brown, Daily Iowan TV.
Artists from all over gathered at the mansion today. They held a fine art sale to raise money for the University of Iowa Women's Health. The feature art came from all over the country, including New York, Cedar Rapids, Missouri, and Kansas City.
It's a wonderful opportunity to see art that otherwise would only have been in his New York gallery.
If you couldn't make it out today, no worries, because the art sale will continue tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And more on the way on Daily Iowan TV.
I'll tell you why one UI professor's social entrepreneurship class is definitely worth your money.
We have Kelsey Kinniff in the weather studio with the latest. And Kelsey, a huge typhoon is expected in Asia this week. Kelsey will be with us in just a minute, but first, this message from the School of Journalism.
Iowa SJMC.
Want a major that'll take you somewhere?
I joined, and now I make videos for the university. I joined, and now I work for the most trusted news source in America. SJMC.
Hey guys, that's right. A super typhoon is headed for the Asian country of the Philippines, nearly halfway around the world from here. This storm, known as a super typhoon Yolanda, is one of the strongest storms in this world's history. Only 3 other storms have come close to the same magnitudes, and winds are blasting at over 200 miles an hour. Yolanda is headed straight for the island nation and is home to nearly 70 million people. Officials are warning the Philippine people of flooding, storm surges, and dangerous winds. Yolanda is expected to make landfall tomorrow, and because of its trajectory, the U.S. territory Guam will be impacted.
They are expecting floodwaters to reach as high as 20 feet. Here at home, though, we won't be as impacted by Yolanda. It's been chillier than usual here, and don't expect that to change anytime soon. Tomorrow's morning's temperatures will be around 40 degrees. In the afternoon, the temp will rise to 53 degrees with mostly cloudy skies. In the evening, the temperature will reach a high of 40 degrees. Now let's take a look at the rest of this week's weather. Saturday, we'll see 59 degrees with sunny skies. Sunday, the skies will clear, but temps will fall to the high 40s. Monday will be 45 degrees with mostly cloudy skies. Get ready to bundle up because Tuesday there's a chance of snow coming our way. Wednesday, skies will be partly cloudy, but the temps will stay in the 30s. That's all I have for weather. Back to you guys at the desk.
And now a look at what's happening beyond Iowa. Trans fat will no longer be a part of the American diet. The Food and Drug Administration will require the U.S. food industry to begin phasing out the synthetic trans fat from all food products. Officials expect the move to prevent 20,000 heart attacks and 7,000 deaths.
And Twitter debuted on Wall Street today at a little over $45 a share. Twitter's success comes amidst fear that the general growth within the stock market won't last. Investors are worried that the Federal Reserve will cut back on its economic stimulus program if Wall Street does too well.
Pre-game, Wrestling Media Day, and the latest from the Big Ten Field Hockey Tournament, all coming up in sports, Muriel.
Yeah, and it sounds like our sports staff has a lot to get to. So with that, let's toss it over to Lauren Moss, who is standing by. Lauren?
Happy Thursday, Hawk fans, and welcome back to Pregame. Lauren Moss flying solo on the program tonight, but don't worry, our football editor, Ben Ross, will join me later on set for the latest installment of Ross Rants. Wrestling Media Day and a quick look at Big Ten tournament action also on tap, but let's start with our weekly injury report to get you set for Saturday's showdown in West Lafayette.
Thanks, Lauren. The Hawkeyes took a hit offensively in last weekend's loss against the Badgers with 3 key starters finishing their Saturday on the sidelines.
Red guard Jordan Walsh was the first to go down in the second quarter and had to be helped off the field. He did not return to the game and was reported to have a hurt ankle.
It didn't look good, Chelsea, but the injury that left the Hawkeye fans the most concerned was starting quarterback Jake Rudock. The interception you're seeing right here was the breaking point for Rudock, causing him to limp off the field after a tackle in the end zone.
Kirk Ferentz described his injury as a sprained left knee and made the executive decision to keep Rudock on the sidelines. Sophomore quarterback C.J. Beathard finished the game going 4 for 16, including an interception.
Running back Mark Wiseman also left the game and didn't play at all in the fourth quarter. He was out with an elbow sprain, but hasn't been right since, tweaking his ankle against Michigan State.
As you can see, his rushing yardage has been largely affected by this, starting from over 100 yards the first couple of games and now getting a measly 15 yards in last weekend's matchup against the Badgers.
Luckily for the Hawks, Chelsea, all these offensive players who went down during the Wisconsin game have been practicing with the team since Tuesday and are marked as #1 on the depth chart for this weekend's matchup against Purdue.
Absolutely, Whitney. Walsh's injury looks pretty serious on the field, but he's good to go for this weekend. The only Hawk who won't be joining him out on the field is once again defensive lineman Dominic Alvis.
On the flip side, Purdue seems to be healthy. However, injuries earlier in their season left many freshmen to step up to the plate.
That's right, Whitney. With that young of a team, it may explain their 1-7 record for this season.
Well, that's all the injuries we have this week. Back to you at the studio.
All right, thanks, ladies. As you just heard, some positive news on the injury front for the Black and Gold. In our latest pregame spotlight, we shed some light on the people behind the scenes who get these banged-up Hawks back on the gridiron. Our own Taylor Axelson has the story.
On Saturday mornings, Hawkeye fans pour into Kinnick Stadium to see who will win the war. And if this is a battle, the University of Iowa football trainers are the medics.
The best way to handle pressure is preparation. The week of evaluating players for Russ Haynes and his training team comes down to the few hours before the game. Players are artfully wrapped in perfectly placed spirals around wrists and ankles. When their movements are slowed down, their precision and experience are shown in the simplest form. And just like tape, the trainers keep this team at its strongest. They are under extreme pressure when they are on the sidelines. Each quarter brings new injuries, as play after play, two forces push each other for the win.
You're always feeling a little bit on edge. You're always preparing yourself for the worst, I guess, as far as making sure that you're prepared and ready to manage those injuries that may be catastrophic in nature.
It doesn't matter whether it's a broken bone or a cut on the elbow. Haynes and his team are at the player's side immediately, because when a player goes down, it is no longer the coach's call. Hawkeye Nation looks to this one group of people to make a choice that could determine the outcome of the game, and more importantly, the health of the athlete. So whether Haynes is in the training room, taping up an ankle, or on the field, checking on a player, he will always be there to walk them off. The pressure is welcomed. This is Taylor Axelson, Daily Iowan TV.
Now, before Ben jumps on set with me here, let's reveal this week's latest Big Ten producer power rankings. As you can see, some movement across the board. Michigan State moves up to number 2 after their dominant performance last Saturday, with Northwestern plummeting all the way down to our number 10 spot after dropping a heartbreaker in Lincoln. The hometown Hawks come in at number 8 with Urban Meyer's Ohio State Buckeyes still sitting pretty in our top spot. Our own Ben Ross, always sitting pretty. And Ben, what are we ranting about this week?
Here it is, everyone. The game that is going to separate the men from the boys. With 5 wins, the Iowa football team finds itself just 1 victory away from returning to the bastion of Bowldom. And it couldn't have come with a better opponent in order. Over the hump, they get the lowly Purdue Boilermakers. Purdue is 1-7 right now, and with the way it's playing, it doesn't look like the team's going to have another win in the upcoming decade. Somewhere in southern Texas, you can find former Purdue head coach Danny Hope smiling as he tends to his cattle. Purdue Pete bested Iowa in Kinnick Stadium last year in a contest of which team could field a more inept offense, provide a more incompetent defense. As is usually the case, Iowa came out ahead in that one. So, this is it. Iowa gets 6 wins and some .com bowl berth with a victory over Purdue. If Iowa can't best the Boilermakers, the campaign to reinstate a Division I men's soccer program on the Iowa campus will begin.
Good stuff as always, Ben. Want to tell them about the best of the rest in the world of Hawkeye sports today?
Sure, absolutely, Lauren. The 20th ranked Iowa field hockey team moved on to the second round of its Big Ten tournament in Columbus Thursday morning. Stephanie Norlander netted the lone goal in the Hawks' 1-0 victory in Columbus.
Ben, one team not in action but still in the spotlight today, Tom Brands and the Iowa wrestling team. Before we leave you here tonight, some sounds from the 23rd time national champions' latest media day.
Of course, we're aware of the matchups, but it's more getting these guys thinking, you know, when you go out to perform, it's doing the things I talked about. And every day bringing that discipline and lifestyle.
And you got targets moving out of the weight class, you got targets moving in. It's not going to make any difference. Okay. Still going to train, still going to work.
He asked me if I could get 20 or 30 falls this year. I told him if you give me enough matches, yeah. I mean, I had 50% falls, I think, last year, close to it. So hopefully that's something we're going to be working for.
You're looking to help the team build and point them in the right direction from like your standpoint, and I believe in kind of.
You can check out a whole lot more from Wrestling Media Day online at dailyiowan.com. That's all we have from you here in the studio. And remember, on Iowa,
and go Hawks.
We're bigger, we're deeper, and we're more experienced than we've ever been.
And here's White, ducks it through. Cummins gets the step on the drive, score it, and a foul. Now he runs it down. Marble with the play made to Aaron White.
Well, that's all we have for you guys tonight. Be sure to catch our Friday's edition of the Daily Iowan. See why Dance Marathon is dancing tonight, 100 days before the big event.
And read about what the university is doing to improve students' professional style.
Thanks for tuning in this evening. We'll be back at the same time on Sunday, or you can catch us anytime online at dailyiowan.com.
Have a wonderful night, everyone.